Auntie, you so cute.
And welcome to Delta Sip. Give me just a second here. Welcome to Delta Sip. This is the show where we sip slow and talk what we know. Tonight, we will be having a much needed panel discussion about pandemic grades. Now, a lot of people are wondering if it's even necessary to have letter grades during this pandemic. Now, according to research, you have people who have put a pause on the letter grades. And I have people tonight on the panel who are ready to talk about what it is that needs to be talked about as it relates to our students and their grades. Now, give me just a second here, and we're going to ask that everybody unmute your face. Tonight we have with us Mr. Coley Anthony. We have Miss Arlincia Barnes. We have Miss Betty Petty. We have State Representative Otis L. Anthony II. We have Dr. Felicity. Now, we did have our other baby, Yasmin Ware. She was going to come on, but as you know, we are experiencing on this evening. So, with that being said, let me go on and get to introducing and asking Coley Anthony to tell us a little bit about himself, and then we're going to go from him to the next person, which would be Arlencia. Mr. Coley.
Good evening. My name is Coley Anthony. I'm currently a senior at Gentry High School, where I participate in football, tennis, and the Beta Club, and I'm a former Jobs for Mississippi Graduates student. And I also am involved in a Chick-fil-A leadership program. And my plans after high school are to go to college at the University of Mississippi, where I will major in political science, and my minor will be pre-law. And I recently just started a business called Too Official. The name Too Official comes from, well, it means that you're so official that you don't need a ref or anybody else to tell you how legit you are. So
Mm.
yeah, it's a blessing to be here. I'm happy and I'm excited and thankful for this opportunity.
Talk a little bit about that mock trial down there. I saw you in Jackson. Don't play now.
Oh yeah, I'm also a part of the mock trial team for the Indianola, Mississippi.
That's right. Thank you so much for that. That was a great introduction. Do you all see how he just came out with it instead of I'm Coley Anthony, Mr. Coley Anthony. I do this, and I do that. Now, let me tell you what I'm doing. I'm an entrepreneur. We're talking about a student now. That is not just anybody. We're talking about a student from Mississippi who is rooted and grounded in what it is that he is wanting to do. He already knows 5 years from now what he want to do because he just told you. Okay, hello, somebody. Now, the next person up is Arlincia Barnes.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Arlincia Barnes, and I'm a current graduate student at Jackson State University, getting my master's in biology. After graduating next May, I am attending medical school to become
Whoop,
a
whoop.
physician as well as a research doctor, so doctor two times. Um,
Mm.
and is there anything else you would like me to say, Miss
Yes,
Buckner?
you were Miss MVSU 2 years
I,
ago, representing
uh,
Indianola.
I am from Indianola, Mississippi, and a couple of years back, I was Miss Mississippi Valley State University 2019-2020.
You graduated
Where I
number 11
graduated
from
from.
Gentry.
Oh, you want me to go way back? You want me to go
Well, you can
back?
say
Okay.
we not that far back, but come on now, Coley done showed you up.
I don't mind. I don't mind. I don't always have to shine. I like Mr. We can share.
No,
We
I'm
can
just
share.
joking. It's not a competition.
Uh,
No, but
I
talk a
grad
little bit
I
about.
I graduated from Mississippi Valley State as a double major, biology and chemistry. Um,
Mhm.
and I
That means
also
you walked
graduated from
away with
teacher.
2 degrees. You
Two
walked
of
away
them.
with 2 degrees at one time, right?
Yes, ma'am. Dual enrollment.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for that introduction. Give
No
me just a
problem.
second, and we will bring Dr. Felicia King up. Give me just a second, Dr. King here. And it's your turn, Dr. King. Let's go.
My name is Dr. Felicia King. I am a chiropractor. It's hard to believe it's going to be 19 years in a couple of months. So I've been doing this for quite a while.
Go ahead.
Yeah, yes. I love what I do. I love helping people. I'm located in Jackson, Mississippi. I'm a native of Indianola, Mississippi, a Gentry High School graduate.
Whoop, whoop.
What else you
AKA
want to know? Oh, yes, I
Alcorn.
am. I finished Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, spring '95 at Alcorn State University,
Mm-hmm.
and I got my chiropractic degree from Life University in Marietta, Georgia. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, what else? I mean, after some
Right.
I don't want to say my age, but you start getting up there in age.
Now we don't have to go that far. Now we're gonna go to Otis. Otis Anthony, Mr. Your frat brother. Give me just a second, Otis. There we go. It's your turn. Unmute your phone. No, we can't hear you. Unmute.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
All right. I want to say good evening to everyone, and I truly
Thank
want to
you.
thank the Mike Magazine for hosting us on this evening. And Angela, we thank you for facilitating this much needed conversation. I want
Mm-hmm.
to say to the fellow panelists, we're just grateful to have this diverse group on. I'm Otis Anthony. I am proud parent of two children. You just heard from one. My son is
Mm-hmm.
a senior there at Gentry High School, and my daughter is a rising junior.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a husband, I'm a pastor, and I am your state lawmaker for District 31,
Mm-hmm.
which encompasses Sunflower County, portions of Bolivar, Humphreys, and um, um, Washington County. I'm sorry, don't want to forget Leland there. And so we're glad
Okay.
to be here this evening.
Otis, you didn't mention nothing about Alpha Phi Alpha, Tougaloo. Come on now. Lay
Oh,
it on us.
I am a distinguished gentleman of the House of Alpha, and we pledged spring '99 there at Tougaloo College.
Mm-hmm.
We also furthered our education there at Agape Bible College, where we received a bachelor's and a master's in theology.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for that. And he went to Gentry High School. I don't know if he said that either.
Gentry High School, class of '97.
98 is where it's at, but give me just a second.
Uh,
Okay. And next we will have Miss Betty Petty. Come on down. Give me just a second, Miss Petty.
My name is Betty Petty, and I'm truly, I
You're
am a
breaking up.
parent advocate. I have been,
Uh-huh.
I'm still breaking.
Oh, I can hear you now. Go on.
Am I still breaking up?
No, you're good. Go on. I am Betty Petty.
Okay.
You were doing great. Go ahead.
Okay. And I am a parent student advocate. I have been advocating for parents for over 20 some years, and that is to help parents to understand what their rights are, and especially working with parents that have children with a disability in order to help
Hmm.
them to understand that federal law, but also to the point to help parents to understand what their rights are as well as their child or children right. And truly in this day and time, we need advocates, we need people to help speak up and people to help each other, because that is what we are here for. We are here to help one another. And so
Okay, Miss Betty Petty.
now, Mrs. Buckner, you know
Miss,
we don't have to go into all of that because we're gonna lift our children up tonight. So
you didn't mention anything about being a drum major at Gentry, a majorette at Gentry. Uh, None of that.
I was
Eh,
right
eh,
there, as they would say many, many moons ago. But of course, I was, and I still am today very active in sports. I
mhm,
ran track. I played basketball. I was also a majorette, from a majorette to a drum majorette of
mhm.
actually leading the band and all. And I believe in being a leader, not just a follower, but I believe in being a leader, whereas we can set examples to show our children
Mhm.
even today that they can lead and our children can lead.
Thank you so much for that introduction. And last but not least, we have my sorority sister, Dr. Rhoda Barnes. Just a second here. Okay, Dr. Barnes, let's have it. She's breaking up. She's breaking up. Your phone is breaking up for some reason. I don't know if you're moving it.
Is she traveling?
No, the weather is really bad down South Jackson.
Oh, yes, it is extremely bad.
Okay, she went out for a second. The discussion that's on the table tonight, we're talking about pandemic grades. Can you say something for me, Dr. Barnes? For some reason, I'm not able to hear Dr. Barnes, but for the sake of time, we're going to go on, and because I know Betty Petty has another event, and we don't want to hold everybody up. Um, in just a second, I'm going to bring up, okay, there's an article out there, and the article talks about more F's, more worries. Michigan school leaders rethink grading during pandemic. Okay, so this source is called chalkbeat.org. And in this article, it reads, halfway into the school year, Michigan students are failing classes at higher rates, concerning educators who say it's more evidence of the coronavirus disruption of learning. About 20% of elementary and middle school students and up to 35% of high school students in the Detroit Public School Community District failed at least one class in the first quarter. Those rates are about twice the rates of the previous school year, according to the district estimates. Now, it goes on to say similar grading trends are emerging nationally. So it's not just Michigan that's going through this, okay? You have other states that are falling in line with what is actually happening. And I don't know if anybody out there has done the research, but research has been done on these grades as it relates to coronavirus. Okay, and it goes on to say in Fairfax County Public Schools in Virginia, the percentage of middle and high school students earning F's in at least two classes climbed to 11%, up 5 percentage points from last year. School districts in St. Paul and Salt Lake City are also seeing increases in failure rates. Okay, now the question on the table tonight is this: what do we do? Okay, may the fourth be with you. It's May the 4th. Okay, I just had to say that. But anyway, this is Mental Health Awareness Month, and we're talking about grades as it relates to our babies. And I want to start off with our students. I really want to hear what it is that they have to say, being that this is also Teacher Appreciation Week. Let's hear what you guys have to say about this, these statistics and these F's going up, and students are just falling behind. Some I'm hearing are being locked out of class, trying to go and do whatever it is that needs to be done. And keep in mind, they are trying to work the kinks out as we speak. Nevertheless, our children grades are suffering. Not all, but most. Coley, let me start off with you and see what it is that you have to say as it relates to these grades.
I believe that virtual learning, that everybody should take into consideration that virtual learning is new to everyone and it's going to take time to get used
Mm-hmm.
to. And some students work better in the classroom. So I believe that there shouldn't be any letter grades, but I do believe that there should be participation grades because
Mm,
getting up every morning and logging into school online is hard enough. Some
mm-hmm,
people lose confidence to do that. So I
mm-hmm.
believe that participation grades are needed, at least, to show how, you know, how
That
much
they
you
are
care
putting
about
forth
the school.
effort. Mm-hmm,
Yes,
mm-hmm.
ma'am, that you're putting forth the effort.
Now, you say a participation grade. That is that a letter grade in itself, or is that just how would you like to see that implemented?
I would say, the teacher should grade you based on to see if you are trying, that you're,
Got you,
that you are, yes, ma'am, that you are actually putting
got you.
forth the effort.
Coley, you have been very vocal about, and I follow you on Facebook, and I don't have to snoop around because we're friends. So
Yes, ma'am.
I noticed that you're very vocal and you're an activist when it comes to what you believe in as a student. I think you can give us a little bit more light on the issue as it relates to sports and during a pandemic. What was that situation about, Coley?
Well, it was a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We faced conflict with the district, and they were telling us that we're not going to have sports because of the this pandemic. And
Mhm.
so I was trying to fight for everybody to make sure everybody get treated equally because there were many people and there were many students depending on scholarships. And, you know,
All
some
right.
people, some students,
Mhm.
some students seem not to have, you know, some students are not, you know,
As
going.
articulate, maybe.
Yes, ma'am. In the
Mhm.
classroom, some students just come to school to stay out of the streets, stay out of trouble. So
Mhm.
I was trying to fight for them, and even
Got
though
you.
we didn't get, even though we didn't football, get a football season, uh, we did have many sports that came after that particular season.
That's awesome. And let me say this. So, with you being as vocal as you are, you're you from what I'm hearing you say, you were able to voice what it was that the other students wanted to articulate. And so,
Yes,
with
ma'am.
that being said, you were so effective. Now, there was no football, but other sports did come along after the students began to voice their concerns during this pandemic. And scholarships are really important right now to a lot of students. And with these letter grades coming down the pipe, I believe what's going on with these teachers in these other states and districts, they are concerned because it will drive their letter grade down as a district. So something has to happen. Let me ask Arlincia, how do you feel about a pass or fail um, grade? And see, you're coming from a graduate level, but one thing I do know is that you did not have a traditional graduation. So, give me just a second, and I want to bring you out so that you can tell us about your experience, first of all, with your graduation not being a traditional one.
Well, I would first like to say that I was completely upset. Simply because when you think about it, all those years you put, whether it be 3 or 4 years, some graduate early. Um, you think about it, you didn't do virtual work. You did hands-on work, especially in my with my degree. You did with biology and chemistry. You didn't do virtual labs. You took the time out of your day to get up at those for those 8 o'clock labs, for those 8 o'clock classes. You when even some nights as a college student, you do extracurricular activities such as party. And then you
Parties.
turn around and
Uh-huh,
get
yeah.
up and go take a test the next day. Those things were not
Mm-hmm.
virtual. That's experience. So for that to be snatched away from you,
Mm-hmm.
and not be to be considered, even today, um, here at Jackson State, they are acknowledging the COVID class, which was
Mm-hmm.
2020, and they are allowing them to walk with the class that is graduating this year. But
Mm-hmm.
that's still an undergoing conversation here at Mississippi Valley State University. But
Mm-hmm.
that was very devastating. Of you were very upset, to say
Mm-hmm.
the least. However, life goes on. I just was happy I got my degree a little faster than everybody else. They just like, how
Your
you get
two
your degree
degrees.
so fast?
Your
Yes,
two
ma'am.
degrees.
Yes, ma'am.
Um, let's talk about the grading. I know you may not agree when it comes to the letter grade and the pass or fail. We've had this discussion. Talk a little bit about at the beginning of the pandemic, and as opposed to right now. How do you feel about that grading scale?
Okay, yeah, this is where I told you I might step on some toes with that one. Because I feel like in the beginning of COVID, I personally had, oh, shout out to the teachers for Teacher Appreciation Week. You guys do
Mm-hmm.
awesome. Without you, there would be no us. Okay, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
them occurred just to be where we are today. Um, I personally feel like in the beginning, I had some traditional teachers, the ones that wrote on chalkboards, not with expo
Mm-hmm.
markers, and they were not even used to using Blackboard and Canvas before there was COVID. So when they had
Mm-hmm.
to move from in class strictly to online. They had a lot of issues. There were no classes
Mm-hmm.
to help because people were scared. So nobody's coming on campus to teach them how to work, put their assignments online and things of that nature. They had trouble finding
Mm-hmm.
our assignments when we submitted them. So at that time,
Mm-hmm.
yes, I would most definitely agree with what you're speaking on, which is a pass or fail. However, when it comes to GPAs, you wonder as a student who's trying to continue their collegiate education, how is that going to
Mm-hmm.
factor into my GPA? Is that pass going to be like 4.0? Is that pass going to be like a 3.0 or 2.0? Because
So
it
I
if I'm trying to
believe
get into
I
a,
believe what it I believe, and I don't mean to cut you off. I believe
you're
what it
fine.
will do is freeze. I think it will freeze that GPA and
Mhm.
move it on, move you forward. Okay. So it wouldn't take a hit. You wouldn't take a loss. And for some of the
Okay.
students who are graduating this year, graduating seniors, you have some universities across these various states that are not going to even count the pandemic grade anyway. Um,
Mhm.
Thank you so much for that. Let me take you out of there. I want to talk to Miss Betty Petty. Now, Miss Petty, there was a situation that happened on today that is breaking news, and you are a parent advocate, and um, you have stepped in and helped a lot of parents and students throughout the years. Your daughter is actually my one of my classmates. But I want you to talk a little bit about this students being locked out of class, elementary school students, up to high school students not being admitted into class, along with corporal punishment. And the reason I said that is because when you, in my mind now, if you uh, lock a child out of class, to me, that is a form of punishment. Now, don't know what type, okay? But that is saying that you are not, you will not be accepted in here. And going to the video, the breaking news that happened today, the baby in Florida, I think she was a Hispanic baby. Her mom could not speak English, but someone recorded the spanking. And with that being said, this teacher discretion and principal, discretion, I'm finding out that corporal punishment, Florida is a part of the corporal punishment state, but that place where that baby was beat is not operating under corporal punishment, right? So, with that being said, this child was sent to the office for scratching a computer. The mother came to pay $50 for the damages. So, how many times do you whoop a child? How many times do you punish a child? You lock them out of class, you whoop them for damaging something, and the parent has to pay. It's just a lot of stuff going on when it comes to this punishment, and it has gone viral, and it turns into what I like to call academic bullying. Miss Petty, I am going to allow you to have the floor because I know you have to be somewhere. But talk a little bit about this academic bullying and the corporal punishment that has gone viral. And I know you're glad that it did.
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Buckner. Corporal
Mm-hmm.
punishment to me, as I've always stated, is a form of slavery. If we go back into the 60s, we would see that when our foreparents and all was working on plantations, in order to get someone to do something, that is what they did. They, a lot of people and mine is understanding the language that is being said. Some
Mm-hmm.
was paddled, some was beaten. And so that is to get you to do what I want you to do.
Mm.
That was during that time. And when we actually look at it and we think about it, we still have 19 states today that is
Mm-hmm.
still administering corporal punishment. We have enough to deal with when we are doing our virtual learning now, because
Okay.
that within itself is working on us mentally.
Okay.
And when we are in class, this is something new for all of us. So
Right.
we should be working together rather than working apart. You know, like it said, together we stand and divided we
Mm-hmm.
fall. Let us
Mm-hmm.
learn this virtual learning together, and let us learn to help one another. But as I said, when it comes to our children,
Mm-hmm.
we should have passion for our children,
And
like the
compassion.
Lord is still having passion for us today when we do wrong.
Come on now.
Our children should not be locked out of class
Mm-hmm.
because, for number one, we don't know what that child has gone through or what that child is going through. So we
Mm-hmm.
need to ask the question, are you doing all right today?
Come on.
How is things going? How might I be of help to you? This is something that is on all of us. All of us are
Let me
going through.
let
Yes,
me ask
ma'am.
you something. Should it take something going viral for people to step up and understand that this thing is taking a toll on our mental health, as well as some of the students have contracted COVID themselves, have loved ones who died. What will it take for those in leadership positions to understand that, hey, you may be a little bit out of touch with what's going on down below you. Let's listen to the students. Let's listen to what they have to say. What what do we need to do? I'm saying, do we need to go viral? But it shouldn't have to take a petition. It shouldn't have to
It
take all of that for leadership to see that this thing is mental, causing mental anguish with our
it should
students
not
and their
have to
grades.
take that, Mrs. Buckner. And I always use the phrase that we need to have effective communication. Because
Mm-hmm.
if we're having effective communication, you are talking with me and I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking back with you. Not the
Mm-hmm.
idea that you are talking at me and I
Right.
am only listening. But if we're
Mm-hmm.
having effective communication, we are communicating with one another about what is
Mm-hmm.
going on. Our children have enough on them as it is, as well to me as our administrators. They are going through, but we should be able to
Mm-hmm.
be there and to help one another. And as
Mm-hmm.
I stated earlier, this is new for all of us. And if
Mm-hmm.
we would just take the time to ask our children, how is it that you are doing? You have parents that is trying to work. Yes, we all have responsibility. We need to
Mm-hmm.
be held accountable for what it is that we are supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Let us hold each other accountable, not just one side of it. Because if I send my child to school, it's my child's duty and responsibility to learn. It's
Okay.
that instructor responsibility to teach my child and to make sure that we're on the same page. We are working this together. When our children do well, guess what? That
Mm-hmm.
instructor does well as well.
Let me ask you, what do you
Because
think should
we,
happen to the grades? What do you think should happen with the grades? I didn't mean to cut you off. And then we're going to go to Otis Anthony.
I think that the grades actually needs to be weighed But I love what Mr. Coley Anthony said, that
Okay.
there needs to be participation grades just for
Okay.
getting on. That's our duty, to get up and
Come on
get
now.
on our computers in the morning. Just for
Come
me
on.
participating would let me know, Mrs. Buckner, that you care that I am on. And
Come on now.
when I see that my instructor care, that gives me more hope that yes, I can do it, and my instructor is right there with me. Just to participate. We don't know what some of our children go through to
Come
get
on.
up in the morning just to get on. But
We
if
don't
we're
know.
in this together, we
Hmm.
can say, I'm not in this by myself. We are
Let me ask
supposed
you.
to, parents and schools, supposed to have a joint shared responsibility in the education of our children.
Thank you so much, Sister Petty. That's what I call her, y'all. I call her Sister Petty. Now, Otis, let's talk a little bit about what can be done, and uh, feel free to make whatever remarks you would like to make up to this point. What should be done? What should we consider? You heard Coley, and he's in high school. He said something about a participation grade. Come on. I think that things should be weighed also. But now I would say this: as long as it is a passing grade, we can still use that grading scale, right? But don't put that grade there. If the child has at least made a D, put the fact that they passed, right? We know what the dynamics will be behind the scene as an educator, right? As a community stakeholder, because they'll explain to us how the grades work. But don't put that grade or don't damage the GPA of that student during a pandemic. Some have already contracted coronavirus and lost loved ones. What say you?
Well, I agree with a lot of what all of the panelists have said thus far. Look, this has definitely been a challenging year for all of us, all across this state, this nation, and this world. And I do believe that some deference should be given to those students who, as you are saying, are attempting, those who are doing the best they can under these conditions that we've been under. It's been a challenge for the teachers, as Ms. Petty said, the administrators. It's been a challenge for all of us because we're learning something. We're learning something new. But some deference should be given to those students who are having
Otis,
challenges.
for some reason.
Okay, can you hear me? Is it
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go on.
okay?
Yes.
All right, but some deference should be given to those students who are, especially those who are having challenges. Um, you know, children are having challenges now. We have the challenge with working parents. There are many parents who are having to leave the home and leave their children there alone with no supervision. The teachers are having challenges giving makeup work. It's a challenge even for me. I'm more of a hands-on learner. I have to kind of be there in person to get something, and sometimes I have to go over things several times before I can digest it. And so, if it's a challenge for me as an adult, I'm sure, no doubt, it's a challenge for our students. And so, some deference should be given, some understanding should be given,
Mm-hmm.
and this should be taken off of the students who are suffering with anxiety, who are
Mm-hmm.
suffering with depression, to be taken out of the element where you can no longer interact with your peers. You can't
Mm-hmm.
interact with your instructors. I mean, it's been a loss of that communication that we are so used to. We are social people,
Yes, we
and
are.
if you look at these statistics, just from not just with students, but if you look at the statistics nationwide,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, suicides have gone up
Yes, that is true. We're
because
talking about mental health here. We're
have
talking
mental
about
health,
mental health.
right?
It's real.
And so these are all challenges that should be taken into consideration before the state eased the uh, uh, letter grades given to districts this year, as well as those state tests. You know, it was pressure placed on teachers
Come
to
on.
perform. You know, they had to hit these benchmarks, and even if the child or children were struggling behind, I mean, there was very little time given to them for makeup because they
Mm-hmm.
had to go on to the next objective because they got to
Mm-hmm.
make, you know, the district had to maintain their academic, you know, letter grade. So all of these things should be taken in consideration. I'm not just saying it for the students. I'm not talking about those students who just, you know, who are lazy and refuse to get up in the morning and to even log on. But you have so many of our students who are having these challenges. Listen, we're still having challenges with connectivity. We're
Mm-hmm.
still having challenges with access, even though
Mm-hmm.
many have the laptops and many have the hotspots. But if you're more than 5 miles away from a cell tower that will allow you to have access, you're still going to have a lag. You're still going to have challenges with logging on. So
Mm-hmm.
all of this should be taken into consideration because, as my dad used to say, it's easier to keep up than catch up. Because
All right. I like that.
once a child gets behind, uh,
Uh-huh.
more than likely it's going to be a challenge for them to catch up because
Okay.
it's easier for them to keep up and catch up.
Thank you so much. And with that being said, I want to say if you're just tuning in, you are listening to a much needed discussion that's going on with our students as well as the parents in the community. Um, we are getting ready to move to Dr. Rhoda Barnes. And she is a former college professor slash educator, however you want to say it. Um, and I just wanted to listen to her give her spiel on what she believes should happen with this grading. Y'all see, I got my teacher pen. Hold on just a second. Dr. Barnes, can you hear me? Okay, well, she's in the Jackson area. We are having some connection issues, which is one of the reasons why we didn't have Miss Yasmin Ware on tonight. And want you guys to keep in mind that, you know, the weather is not the best. So please, if you don't have to be out, don't. We're going to Dr. King right now. Give me just a second here. Dr. Felicia King, let me ask you, uh, where do you stand as it relates to, and I know you are, you understand about pandemic grades and something is, I'm getting extra feedback. With Dr. King, how do you feel about the direction this discussion is going in? And I know you're more of a radical. I hate to use that word, but rah. Tell me what you think, Doc. We just having discussion.
Well, I don't mind the term radical. They call a
I
lot of the
don't either.
greats, a lot of our great revolutionaries, radicals, and you have to be radical to see
Come
change
on
and
now.
to
Mm-hmm.
spark change
Mm-hmm.
in other people. So, um, yeah, I'll claim that adjective. um, this pandemic has a silver lining, and
Mm-hmm.
I tend to focus on that more than what is going on, and I
Okay.
appreciate. I noticed early on as a child that the way we live life is not proper.
Mm.
It's not. It's really not even conducive for life. But
Mm-hmm.
we have to, we've managed to make it work. But it's time for a change.
Mm-hmm.
It's time for a change on so many levels.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about the school system, but my mind is running all in other directions about how this great overhaul that needs to take place. Because we talk
Mm-hmm.
about the school system and how things are not working, well, it wasn't working in the first place. If we really want to get down on into it. And now we're dealing with the challenges that the pandemic has presented, and so now it's like we got to create a new way of doing schooling. So if you create a new way of doing schooling, then you got to look at creating a new way of parenting. So if you're going to create a new way of parenting, now you got to create a new way of how you're going to generate income. You understand what I'm saying? So this thing for me, it's a little deeper than just dealing with just one aspect of life, because this one thing affect all areas of life. And we have to take a look at that, because this, to me, this is what the opportunity God is presenting to us right now. And we have to be willing to change, stop trying to make things go back the way they used to be or make it even look similar. That is over. We will never go back to the quote, quote norm. I don't know about y'all. I don't want to go back to that. Okay, because it's nuts. It's insanity the way we lived our lives. And the children are the ones that's affected by it. You got people that have to work just to keep the lights on in their house and their food on the table, but they can't even see about dealing with their children. Then the children go into the school systems, and then now the teachers got to deal with whatever the children dealing with, or the school system got to deal with whatever the children dealing with, because the parents can't deal. It's just a lot. You know what I'm saying? That we really have to take time to investigate and see what we need to do to change it. Now, I'm a big advocate of homeschooling. I'm just gonna tell you, I am. I'm a little bit of traditional and a little bit of old fashioned when it comes to that, especially when children are very, very young, because
But Dr.
those
King, your mom was an educator now. Your mom
she
taught in the
was.
public school system now.
She was, but I'm gonna tell you something. I think about my and my siblings' situation with her, because we was in a small town and my mom worked in the same school system that we attended. We spent a lot of time with her, so she was able to pour
Wow.
into us as
Wow.
parents should into their children. So we were
But I'm hearing
extremely blessed,
but
and I
I'm
think
I'm
that all.
hearing the very opposite during this pandemic,
Mhm.
Dr. King, that you have teachers who are not able to pour into their children because they have been taken away, right? I'm telling you, they have cried tears because their children's grades have dropped.
Of
And
course,
that was a fortunate thing that you were able to be with
right.
your mother.
Right. So we didn't have Zoom and all this stuff when we was going to school. I mean, I would tell you, I'm so grateful that my career and my what I do for a living does not include being on Zoom. I'm telling you, I would be jobless. I can't take it. I did my continuing education hours uh, a few weeks ago, and it was Zoom. And of course, they wanted us to be present. That was the hardest weekend ever for me. I,
You
I
took
don't
the words out of
know.
my mouth.
Say it
My
again
next
now.
question, my next question to the panel. You took the words right out of my mouth when it comes to continuing ed. What should continuing ed courses look like for a superintendent, for a principal? They make the teachers get professional development, but what should happen with continuing ed as it relates to leadership? Anybody?
Well, I mean, I think that every professional should be taking some form of continuing education, whether it's formal or informal. They need to be studying the latest on their craft or their industry to keep up with the times. And to not be locked in doing the same thing over and over again. Things change. Life is about changing and evolution.
Did anybody else want to add anything to this discussion before we go? There is a petition out there. There's a young lady, I want to call a young lady in Bolivar County who has started a petition. Her name is Miss Sherry Shepherd, and she is talking about the problem that she is having in Cleveland. She's sitting there with her grandbaby, and the teacher is asking the children in the class, take your scissors out. And you hear baby say, we don't have them. Take out this, we don't have them. So she has reached out to whoever she felt necessary, and her ultimate answer was take them to court, take the district to court. So she has a petition going, and it's sad that you would have to hear someone say take them to court when in actuality money has been allocated to the districts. The other petition is the petition that we have going on right now with the Mike magazine. You can go to change.org and type in the Mike magazine, and the petition will pull up for you. But we're asking that you all sign the petition. And some people say, well, a petition won't do anything. That's not true. It will raise awareness about what we're talking about, which is our kids' grades hanging in the balance. And as we heard in Michigan and Salt Lake City and all of these other places, they are actually strongly considering doing away with the letter grade for right now, so that the children's grade won't take a hit. I don't want our children to lose out. They're already going through enough mental anguish, as we all can agree. And again, this is Mental Health Awareness Month, and we need as much compassion for not just our children, but the teachers, for the people in leadership. We need people who are going to actually stand up and say, you know what is going on is not beneficial for us as a community and on down. Okay, we need people who are going to stand up and say, what can we do? It's easy to sit there and say, it's not going to work. But what have you done to contribute to what's happening during this pandemic? We got Representative Otis Anthony, and he weighed in on the discussion, and Betty Petty, everybody is talking. We heard from the students. This thing is serious. It is so serious that we don't want to fail our children, if you will. Otis, before you go, what are some words or thoughts you would like to leave us with? Some encouraging words. Do you see anything happening with these grades in the state of Mississippi anytime soon? Because most of the districts are failing already.
As I always tell people in groups like this or in community meetings, the
He's,
people have.
he's breaking up. Coley, can you hear him?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am, I can hear him.
Is that a little bit better? Is that better?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay. All right. As I always tell people in settings like this or in community meetings, the people have the power. When you get the community together, when you get parents getting involved, when you get students and children getting involved, then things begin to change. As long as there's just a few of us talking, nobody will hear us. But the power always rests with the people. Okay, and so I encourage our parents. This has always worked for me. I go to the school. I want to know what my children are doing. I want to know what the teachers are doing. So I'm there. I'm present. And I know it may not be as easy for some parents as it is for me, but you gotta get involved. You cannot let anyone dictate or chart the course of your children's life. You're responsible for them. And so not only do my children have a responsibility, but I also have a responsibility to make sure that they have what they need, but also that I get involved in their lives to see exactly what's going on. What are their thoughts? What are their issues that they're dealing with? And so I'm always present there at the school. I was present more so then than I am now because we can't come. Nobody's there. But I just encourage the parents, stay involved. These are your children, and if it were not for the children, we wouldn't have school. So just get involved. Speak up. If you feel something is not right, or if your child needs some extra help, you gotta wave that flag. You gotta raise that awareness, and you gotta let them know. Look, I'm not going. It's not. They're not going to fail on my watch. You have to do that. You got to get involved. Okay, because when that happens, when parents become more vocal, then you'll start to see some change. But until then, it's just going to be a few of us talking. And I don't just like to be talking to be talking. If we're gonna talk, let's get something done. So I just want to encourage the parents to get involved. It's not hopeless. I mean, no situation is hopeless. But you gotta do what you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
So they can hear you.
Thank you so much, Otis. Betty Petty, any other words before we go? I would just basically like to echo what Representative Anthony said. But my word, instead of being involved, I would say be engaged. Engage is for the long haul with me. If you don't know, ask. There are policies there that you as parents, you have a right to see those policies. All you have to do is just ask for them. And as I stated, that if you don't know, ask, but keep being engaged. If you are not, get engaged with your child's education. You can learn right along with them learning, but you need to be actively engaged in your child's education, because when it's all over and done with, my child can say that my parents was there with me and for me. We have to do this together. So, yes, parents, get engaged with your child's education. Coley,
Yes, ma'am.
any final thoughts? Any words of encouragement to the students out there tremendously? What would you tell them to? How would you tell them or keep them encouraged during?
I would just tell students to keep on trying, keep on doing what you're doing. We're almost at the finish line, and continue to fight for what's right. Never lose hope, and just continue to do your best.
Any final words, or how do you feel about the discussion that we had? Do you think it was much needed? Do we need to talk about petty? I mean, just what was this necessary?
I'm trying to figure out. You've been breaking up to me on my side. I don't know if it's me, but I don't know what you said, Mama. I mean, Mrs. Buckman.
Was this necessary?
Oh, it is most definitely necessary. I hope I'm not breaking up to you guys. Okay. It is most definitely necessary. It just more people like everyone has said, more people need to have this discussion, especially in more places of power, because if nobody is expressing these things, and the thing is, I'm speaking from a higher educational point. Uh, our administration hates, they despise when you go on social media to express yourself about these grades and things of those natures, but it's hard to get through to them sometimes, especially when you are trying to catch these things before it causes a domino effect. When you're trying to catch these things early on and not late, when it seems like you've done no work, when you've not tried to reach out, when you're trying to reach out early, sometimes it is difficult. So these are things that they need to have in administration tables. They need to be talking about this. They need to bring in the SGA. Hey, what have the students been seeing? What are the concerns out there that as it surrounds the grading system, for, because like I said earlier, we're more concerned about looking competitive, trying to get in professional schools when it comes to our GPA. Of course, we wouldn't mind a pass or fail, but we try to factor into that. Hey, are we still going to look competitive, especially being, coming from HBCUs? You're trying your best to look as applicable and qualified as the next person. So yes, we would love pass or fail. That does not mean we're trying to be lazy. That does not mean we're trying to get by. But some these assignments, and most times, in many cases I've seen, we get more assignments online than we get in regular classes, and less time to do them. So these things are, it doesn't look like they're being considered as professors or as teachers when they're saying, hey, you wake up the next morning, you got 8 assignments, you just finished 7 last night, and they're due at 11:59. And you're not the only professor I have. You're not the only teacher I have. You want me to have all of this done, or I'm going to fail? Like that, those are things that need to be considered. Oh, and Coley, I love your mind process. You are on the up and up. I love the way you think, young man. Keep going. I support
Thank
you
you.
in anything you do. If you need any help with anything, please let me know.
And Dr. King, any
Thank you. I
final
appreciate it.
words? Thank you, Coley. Thank you, Arlincia.
I just like to say that, is that me? Can y'all hear me well? Okay. I just like to reiterate the fact that, we are in a new era, and we have to start looking at our lives and living them differently. And so even though we're talking about the school and the school system and how things are being done at this time, it's to we need to start connecting the dots to other areas of our lives and putting these pieces together, because one is going to affect the other. Um, and we need to start doing that and start looking at things differently, and not go back into the, well, we're not we're not going to be able to even go back to the way we used to do things. That is over with. I don't know how many times people might try to make it happen. God always brings something to show y'all ain't going back. Okay, we about to have a gas shortage during the summer because we don't have enough truck drivers to bring in the gas. I'm just saying, this thing is it's big, so we have to start thinking outside of the lanes that we've been, trained to think. That's all I have to say. Just keep an open mind and be willing to change.
And with that being said, we're going to wrap this show. And again, this is Delta Sip, where we sip slow and we talk what we know. And I got to go because I got a little baby crying.
Next